Standardbred horse sales smashed records in 2024.
$1 million, thank you. $1 million, come on, thank you. $850,000, thank you.
Make your plans for 2025, offering 3 days of the sport's top yearlings and the #1 mixed sale in the industry. Don't miss the Sale of Champions, November 3rd through 7th. Another spectacular year awaits. See you in Harrisburg.
Winback Farm of Canada's now home to Meadowlands Pace Champion Beach Glass.
Beach Glass wins the cane pace. Beach Glass.
Well, today it's Beach Glass.
And Beach Glass is going to get there. Beach Glass in front.
He felt real strong still, and when I popped the tool, I didn't think it'd be any worries.
The beach is back. Beach Glass.
You know it's going to be a horse race, but this one, I didn't think he could lose. I really didn't.
For more information, visit winbackfarm.com.
Preferred Equine Online has proven time and time again to be the industry's online provider, selling the highest priced horses in all categories online, including racehorses, broodmares, yearlings, weanlings, and stallion shares. Full service, trusted and transparent. Contact Preferred for your online sales needs at www.preferredequineonline.com or call 914-773-7777.
In a field lies hope, anticipation, from the biggest races to the brightest stages.
Forbidden Trade with a gigantic upset.
Desperate man. There's no desperation, no strike.
It's Bulldog Hanover, the fastest mile in harness racing history.
For the glory, the pride, the payoff, enter the field, the Ontario Sire Stakes program, from Ontario farms to the world stage.
Welcome to Harness Racing Updates Tuesday Training. I'm Heather Vitale, and this is our first stop for our 2025 New Jersey tour. And we are here with Andrew Harris. We have a lot of congratulations to get to, a lot of horses to cover, but let's kick things off by me just saying I really don't know that much about you. I don't know your backstory. We've talked a lot about horses. I'm just going to assume you grew up in the barn with a pitchfork in your hand when you were a kid. Is that right?
Yeah, third generation horseman. And I followed my dad around all the B tracks up in Canada and stuff like that, and practically lived at Flamborough Downs in London and Clinton and Dresden and Hanover and all those places and stuff like that. So I grew up with a whip in hand and sitting on a bike tied to a fence and sitting there driving these types of horses in my dreams.
Yeah, and then you've worked for a couple notable people. I do know that. Casey Coleman, that's the one that sticks out for me.
Yeah, I spent about 10 years with Casey, and then end of 2015 I went on my own, but she's been a great friend since, so it's been a wonderful relationship.
And how long have you lived in Jersey now?
Ooh, gotta be close to 20 years now. Oh, damn, you're making me feel old.
Sorry, but that's not really a great way to kick off this interview, does it? By making my interviewee feel not so young. All right, so before we get to talking about specific horses, we're going to talk about the ratio, like the numbers. I like to find out how many are you training and then how many are 2-year-olds?
We got 52 in the barn and I think 18 2-year-olds.
Oh, okay. All right. And of course, I want to start out with a buck a bet Hanover because we like to get kind of an update on some of the standouts in the barn before we talk about our rising stars. A buck a bet Hanover. I mean, of course, 2024 Dan Patch winner, older pacing horse of the year, and he is your heart horse.
Yeah, I love that horse. Still usually the first one I take in the morning. He's been training back great. We trained him in 2.7 yesterday. Trained with EJ in 7, so he's training with very talented horses. So for him to be feeling as good as he is against the competition he's training against, feels great.
So he had a few big races last year. FanDuel, the Houghton. Do you have a favorite?
Probably the Houghton. One, my family was there, and then every owner was there. So I had Bill and his whole family, I had Bruce and his whole family. So it was just kind of wonderful to get everybody into the winner's circle and really enjoy that one. Something that we don't get enough of. So it was nice because every single person was there that needed to be there that was part of this horse.
We're going to talk about another older pacer, 7 Colors, who did really well last year. He did well in the MGM series, Breeders' Crown. Let's talk about him.
He was one of those ones that I thought that he'd have an okay year, but I was worried about him being a 4-year-old. He just didn't seem like he was acclimating as well as I'd like to early. I really think that he can have a strong year this year. I think that he can be a big player in that division. I think that he's 5, he's bigger, stronger, he seems like he's healthier. I'm looking for big things out of him, and I think he's got a big year ahead of him.
Let's talk about my girl, EJ.
Yeah, we actually bought her online. Shout out Dave Reed. And so we got her, we raced her just the once, and she was second to Twin B Joe Fresh, which is going into the race. That was kind of what we thought we could do. And, she was 3, so this year she's 4. And she's got big shoes to fill, but she's been such a nice mare, and the Burke crew's done a phenomenal job with her. She looked great coming back in. Came back in. She's spicy as all hell, and she's just a wonderful filly to be around. But she's a spicy girl.
Yeah, I was wondering, a lot of people talk about going from 2 to 3, but 3 to 4 is a big deal.
Yeah, it is. It's strange because we have some that can handle it so well and then some that don't. I find that the mares, if you look at Sylvia, she had kind of a tough 4-year-old year, some would say, compared to her 2 and 3-year-old year. But then you look at Twin B Joe Fresh, she stepped up at 4 and had a magnificent year. So you can't really say it's just all 4-year-olds. You can't group them all in together. But it certainly has an effect on some, and then some get better and stronger.
All right, now we're going to move to our 3-year-olds. And these 3 we actually talked about last year with our 2s in training when we visited the Harris stable. And we're going to start with Montserrat, a Chapter 7 colt. Won the Valley Victory last year, so ended the year on a high note. You loved him in 2s in training last year. You actually called him a professional. So he's living up to his name, right?
Yeah, he went through a little period, though, where he didn't. The first few starts, I was having a hard time with him in the turns. If he got a little bit crooked, he just seems like if he touched himself at all, he would just break. And we finally threw the hobbles on him. Actually, my brother went and drove him in Lexington for me, and I said, do not move this horse till a straightaway. And then he excelled. And then we got, I kind of took a dice and just threw the dice and said, let's go to Indiana to a stakes race with him. And we put Todd McCarthy on him, and he raced phenomenal there, finishing 3rd. And then Dave Miller was able to click with him and stay with him and loved him. And ever since those 2 got together, it's been a match made in heaven.
Now, Vogus, a trotting filly. Vogus, that breeding, you can't beat the breeding. She's daughter of Jolene. And let's talk.
Related to Maryland.
Yes, related to Maryland. It's just like impeccable. I loved her last year. And, she was good for you last year.
Very good, and I think she'll have a stronger 3-year-old year. She was a little bit small and a little bit weaker last year, and at the end of the year she was getting a little bit tired on me, but she really turned out to be what I thought she could be, and I think she's even better this year.
Now, the final one I want to talk about that we talked about last year, okay, we want to touch on her this year, Treachery in the Dark. I was obsessed with this filly. I just absolutely fell in love with her in our 2s in training, and you loved her too. 0 for 9 last year. What happened, and what can we expect this year?
I think we can expect a much better version of herself. She just went through one of those things where, she trained down great, she was training great, and then she got hooked up on a line. We started racing her a little bit, and she'd be straight, and then all of a sudden you get to the 3/4 wheel, she'd just start locking on a line, getting this way, getting now a little sideways, and just some really green stuff that we just couldn't shake out of her. And she was going the speed. She's going 51, she's coming home 25, 26, so she had it in there, but we just never got her to mentally square it all the way. And hopefully this year we do have that, and if she does, the speed's there. She showed that already. So we just need her to step up and show that she's got the class to go with it.
All right, now we're going to move on to, I still call them babies. They are 2 years old now, but still, they're just learning their job. We had a fantastic experience. Well, I don't know. I shouldn't say we had. I don't know if Andrew had a fantastic experience with me sitting next to him today, but I certainly had a great time.
It wasn't boring.
Yeah, this 2-seater jog cart. I had so much fun. So tell me the training method. We went out there, we step on the track, and where do we go from there?
Usually I jog them about 2 miles, 2.5 miles, and then we'll turn them and go trip 1.5 miles. Then we'll walk them about 10 minutes after we train them 1.5 miles, and then we'll go a mile and whatever it is that we're set to go that day. Today we went in 22.
Okay. And I also want to mention we went in sets of 6, so we'll see 6 at a time out there, and one of them being pacers, but I guess that doesn't matter at this point. We had 5 trotters and a pacer in our set of 6?
Yeah, just the way it sets up. So it's just 3 groups of 6. So anyway you slice it, there's only 10 trotters altogether, so there's 5 in each set, or I can break it up a little bit. So I just break it up a little bit and then throw a pacer in each one. And when we're going this slow, I don't really care. It's not about gait right now. Come next month, we'll drop them into sets of 3 and then start changing things up. But for right now, when we're just going nice and easy, just teaching them to be on a helmet, teaching them manners. So no, it doesn't matter what gait you are right now.
The other thing is, the first time we went out there for the first trip, we sat in the back of the group. But then the second trip, we were on the front. So why was that?
At the back, I'll sit there and I'll watch them all, so I can actually see how everybody warmed up, how everybody transitions, and then I don't want the same horse on the front 2 trips in a row or whatever it is. I want everybody to change locations, and that way it's a group experience for everyone. Generally, I don't take the same horse every time we train. I always kind of alternate it and go through different ones, so that's what I do. And today it was just those were the horses that I was marked to go with today. Sat at the back first trip, make sure everybody else looks like they're doing their jobs right and everyone looks healthy and sound. And then the next trip, I like to be on the front and cut it when we're going for new lifetime marks, just because I like to be in control.
I love that, yeah. Because we're doing all new lifetime marks every time we go out there, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
All right, I love that. Okay, so I hope you guys love trotters, because we have 10 trotters to cover and 2 pacers, and we're going to start with the trotters. And actually, let's start with the fillies. I want to look at the couple Chapter 7 fillies. Going viral, we got her from Lexington, a full sister to Instagram model.
Yeah, she's a real sweet treat. I love her. She's all business. She's a typical Chapter 7, got her head down. Can be a little bit strong sometimes, but man, can she move, and I love the way she does it.
Another Chapter 7 is Country Splash, and another Lexington purchase. This is a first foal.
Yes, and I love her. Everybody in the barn actually seems to like her. Every time I rate everybody and get everyone to rate them, they're always put her near the top. So she's been kind of like a barn favorite all of a sudden, and she's one of the smaller ones in this group. So it's kind of like nice to see that she's getting the love. Last year, Vogish was the same thing. She was one of our smaller ones, and she stepped up. So I got big dreams for her.
Yeah, and with being at first foal, I'm curious about that. Like, I would always think it's such a gamble to do a first foal, but that first foal deal that's big, right? People are looking for first foals. What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, when you got the family that they do, I don't think it matters if it's first, second, third foal. Generally I don't really want to see a 6th and 7th foal, but you see lots of those ones too. But at the same time, you're looking at the second dam, you're looking at the third dam, and all the engines are there. You just got to have all the parts to go with it, and she looked like she had all the parts.
All right, now we've got a couple Muscle Hill ladies. Let's go with a Grand Prix Deo and another Lexington purchase, a half sister to up your Deo.
Yeah, she's actually a nice filly. Today she was struggling a little bit. She's probably needs to be backed off a little bit. Her stifles are bothering her a little bit, so I'll get to work on them all of a sudden. She made a break today, but overall I really like that filly. She's a nice filly and stuff like that. So a little down on her today, but we won't be down on her next week.
All right, now we're going to move to Pink Hermes. I'm just going to let you tell everybody about her.
Yeah, she's Ramona's sister, so she's a very classy lady. We love her. She does everything right. Doesn't matter who I put on her. She never makes a mistake. She's just all class, and she's just a consummate professional.
I mean, having a sister to Ramona Hill in the barn, just so cool. You're just, you're working with a royalty. You're working with princesses of harness racing,
Yeah, I feel like that's what this whole barn's made up of. It's all royalty, so we're kind of blessed that way.
I love it. Okay, now we've got Iconic Beauty, a Gimpanzee, and the dam actually is Dreamchild, huge producer.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of this filly. This was one of the fillies that when I first saw, I was like, this is a must-have. I want this one. Really like the Gimpanzees, like the whole Chapter 7 line, obviously, but really like this filly, and on the track, she's as nice as you want a horse to be at this point in time.
And going on to another Gimpanzee, since you just mentioned that, Heart for Two. Love her, that hair, she's just gorgeous. And talk about this French breeding.
Yeah, I'm new to the whole French breeding thing, but she was Gimpanzee. She was gorgeous. Like, if you take away the red part, she's absolutely gorgeous. She's built perfectly.
What did he just say? You don't be making fun of gingers, because about half the year I'm ginger and half the year I'm blonde. So.
No, we love her, and we love a good red. So no, she's just a beauty to be around, and on the track she's really nice. She gets a little bit antsy and stuff like that, but once you're going your mile, she's perfect. So got to work on her manners a touch, but you know all about that being a redhead. So
you know what? this is where one of those interviews where instead of the interviewee walking off the set, the host will walk off the set. No, I'm just kidding. The dam, though, she's got French breeding in her, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was pair Henriksen breeding. So looks like it was nice on paper, everything about that. I'm not as familiar with the French breeding as much as others are, so I don't want to sit here and BS anybody about it, so I'm not going to sit here and talk out of my butt. But I did like her, and she looks like she's nice, so.
One more trotting filly to get to. It's Shea Bella, a bar hopping filly.
Yeah, this is Bond's family, and she was probably the toughest one for us to break. I think she broke 2 of my jaw carts, so she still owes me for that. But she's probably excelled to be one of the top ones in the barn right now. She's just going so fantastic, and I couldn't be prouder of her. And I didn't know that she was going to be this nice after breaking her, because she was just really stuck in her ways and had a little bit of an ignorant side to her. And then once we got working to her and started going 2 trips with her, she really excelled.
All right, now we're going to move to the boys. We've got Icefall, who is a Walner, and oh yeah, the son of Ice Attraction, who is a world champion herself.
Yeah, he's a Walner, so he's a little grabby, but he goes nice and he moves nice, and he's got everything about him is just what you want him to be at right now. Probably pulled as one of the top horses in the barn right now, if you ask all the guys. So pretty nice colt.
Now, Bricco, another Gimpanzee, half-brother to Sig Sauer, who was the Dan Patch 3-year-old trotting colt of the year.
Yeah, this is one of my personal favorites. He's a really nice colt. He can make a mistake here or there. He plays with his head a lot. But other than that, I love the way he moves when he's actually on task and doing what he's supposed to be doing. Great mover, great athletic ability. So I got high hopes for him.
And our last 2-year-old we're going to talk about is Cambridge Hanover, who, again, I mean, the breeding on this one. I do want to mention, before I let you take over, you did say at the sale when you bought this horse at Harrisburg, it was the nicest looking horse, like on video, and you saw the horse, the way the horse moved across the ground. I mean, still feel that way about him?
Oh, absolutely. He's the best mover that I've ever sat behind. Probably the most gifted athletic horse ever that I've got to work with. So hopefully that translates later on in his life. But right now he's, I try not to sit on him that much so that I don't go too fast with him. That's the truth.
And let's talk about his breeding, because of course he's got a brother whose name is Maryland, right?
Yeah, I mean his whole family's amazing, and it's Vogish's family, Jolene, and you got Crucial in there, so it's just an unbelievable family, and that's why you got to pay the big dollars to get a horse like that. But right now he looks like he's worth every dollar.
Okay. Now we've covered all of our trotters. We got 2 pacers to get to. Let's talk about Brandon Boulevard first.
Yep. He's a Downbytheseaside. He's out of a mare named Alexis Faith, who I actually worked with myself when I worked for Casey. So, and she was a really nice New York Sire Stakes filly. And he's a gorgeous looking animal. At first, I didn't know if I really loved him as much because he was really on the lazy side. And then when we started 2 trips with him, he's just really gone forward, and he's not lazy anymore. He's doing everything you want him to do, and he's a really easy mover.
I feel the same way. I mean, I just sat behind him today, so of course I know all of that. And I got to sit behind the Pacers today. It was so fun. So the last one I want to talk about is Captain Brunson.
Yep. So this is one that the gentlemen, Bill and Bruce, actually changed this one's name. They're huge Knicks fans. So Jalen Brunson, of course, being the captain of the Knicks, so they switched this one to Captain Brunson. And this is a nice horse. You know, we didn't give that much for this colt, but he's actually a really, really nice horse. So I'm a big fan of him.
Now, we talk about, like, there's a lot of money that go through the sales. A lot of people spend, you know, dollars on horses, and you don't know what to expect. And I know that your owners have done that. So just how does that make you feel? I know you got to feel grateful, but do you feel pressure? I mean, as a whole, when you're walking out of the sale and be like, oh, all right, I've got a job to do here. What are your feelings overall?
I think that I'm in a blessed situation where I get to go through and kind of get to pick the ones that I want. So there's not as much pressure with that. You know, there's a lot more pressure when you got to go and you're told to go pick out 5 horses and hope they go for the right budget, and those ones don't. And now you're pulling straws out trying to get one that can fit that budget. You know, I'm kind of blessed in a situation where I go in and I talk to Bill and give him a list of which ones that we really want to go after. And there's a couple that we put a number on and we did a hard stop on, and I'll keep an eye on those ones and see if those ones will make me regret that or not. But, you know, for the most part, I really get to pick the ones that I really want to have. So there's there's no pressure in that part. I get to walk in and pretty much say, okay, well, we want 16, 17, 7, whatever the number is, and I get to go pick the best ones that fit that book. So that's not really pressure. That's just fun.
I also feel like a lot of people don't realize this is a work in progress. I mean, how long have you and Bruce and Bill been together?
With 2022, we bought a bucket bet in October. So, yeah, it's
not that long.
Yeah. So it's, and then we slowly snowballed it up since then. But, they bought 3 babies the next year. Then the next year they went and bought 20 babies and 17 this year. So, fully engaged now. I believe that we got, Bill's got, I think, 50 horses right now. So he's really blossomed up here big time.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like when you go to a sale and you buy a bunch of 2-year-olds, people are expecting that every single one's going to make it to the winner's circle, when some of them aren't even really ready to do their job as professionals until the very next year,
Yeah, and I'm a lot more laid back with mine. I'm not in a big rush with mine, and I think that last year, I think that people were probably a little nervous for me at the beginning of the year because we didn't train them and part of the problem is because we do spend so much money on them. I am scared to break them down. I'm not trying to just go out there and just get the 5 best ones to survive, and then the other ones are just nothing. I'm trying to get all of them to the races, and sometimes you got to be a little bit more patient with them, and not all of them are sound all the time, and you're always putting a little bit of fire here, a little bit of fire there. One's sick this week, one's sound, this issue's here. So for me, I want them all to be happy, healthy, and sound, and then they can show what they are.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. No, I think that's perfect. I think that's a great way to end the interview also. So thank you. Yes. All right. Thanks, Andrew, so much for having me here today.
Yep. Thank you.